Welcome back to my channel. I'm currently in the process of improving my golf swing, and I noticed that I have some common errors that a lot of people struggle with. On the face value, the swing looks fairly decent, does get a little steep in transition, and you'll notice that the club head comes in under plane during the takeaway. Let's look and see if we can figure out why, because if you Google from what most common instruction is going to say is that I'm rolling the club face open with the forearms, when in reality that's not the case. When you look at this in slow motion, what's actually happening is that the handle is raising up because I'm trying to get taller in the backswing with the right shoulder, which is a result of the speed training that I've done. So when the handle lifts up, the hands uncock just a little bit more in the takeaway, and what's happening is the club face is now closing. So it's not a common problem that I would see with a lot of people that typically just fan the club face open, because what they're doing is actually opening the face along with rolling it to the inside. So the issues that I'm going to have are going to be slightly different because I'm doing this with a closed face. When I do get to the top though, you will see that the club does get a little bit steeper and a little bit across the line, and when it comes down, because the momentum of the club is going up and across the line, it typically creates a pull down effect, which is going to cause the shaft to get a little steeper. Now, because I come in above plane, this has actually helped me reduce hooks. The problem is now I can hit the ball both directions because I have a closed face and I have a slightly steeper shaft angle. So I can miss the ball left and I can miss it to the right as well, which is kind of an annoying problem to have because when you're playing tournament golf, you really want to have a one-way miss. If you notice in the swing how my hands initially kind of start tracking to the ball line, that's what's getting it to be steeper. So if you wanted to keep a underplane swing in the takeaway, a functional, without having to get rid of that initial motion, because for some people it's just too hard, it takes too much time. This is something I've struggled with for years. You can see how that club shaft is now on the left arm and it's above the shoulder, making it a very steep downswing. The way that I've gotten rid of that is if you watch Ray Floyd here, he's an elite Hall of Fame golfer, and what he does is has a little bit more patience from the top, so you've got to drop the club back down. So that's where you're just going to have a little bit more timing and patience in the downswing. I've played to almost a scratch level golfer with that style of swing. If you're going to swing with that style of swing, it's important that you keep the back facing the target longer in order to allow the club to drop. You can see how quick of a face rotation I've got at impact there because my club shaft is now coming in steeper, because as I've picked up speed, I now get that club head swinging and I don't want to fire from the top a little bit more, and that's creating that pull down, which is getting the club shaft steeper. Because I have an inside roll takeaway, but with a closed face, I now can hit the ball left and right, whereas most people that have this problem just slice. So the first drill that I did to help curb the under and inside takeaway is I grabbed a shaft and I ran it down the grip hole inside of the club, so that way it didn't affect the hand connection feel to the grip. I practiced doing takeaways where the hands would get to the trail leg and keeping the club head outside of the hands with the shaft resting up against the trail hip. Once the hands got to the trail leg, I felt like I would hinge it vertically, keeping the hands above and outside of the hands all the way to the top of the swing. Once I got to the top of the swing, I would then try to keep the alignment stick pointed about 30 degrees to the right of target as I came down. So this helped me feel like I'm dropping the club from the inside. With the training aids removed, let's see how the swing translates. As I take the club head back, you can see that it stays outside of the hands at the halfway back position and gets to a nice spot at the top of the swing. However, the hands do track to the ball line and create a little bit steeper swing. Now you can see that it looked like a good halfway down position. However, because I had to pull back and early extend to get the shallowing effect, it ended up creating a little bit of a flip at the bottom. With the backswing in a better position, there's one more piece that I'm going to need to add in the downswing transition area to make my swing functional. The next device that I practiced with was called the connector. It's a ball with rods that you place in between your forearms, and it helps keep forearm connection and shows you your arm or elbow plane as you're going back, helping you to reduce the rolling effect of the club. The connector was a great product, and I felt it was one of the few products that actually helped me improve. You can get it on Amazon for about 30 bucks. The connector has 3 rods. The back rod helps with the elbow plane, showing where the elbows need to move inside and up. And the front rod, if you keep that pointed towards ball line, the longer you do that, the less you will roll the club to the inside. So I felt this gave me immediate feedback and visualization that I needed in order to keep the club head from rolling to the inside. This is a phenomenal product and one of the best I've found at curbing the inside takeaway. I've had very few training aids that have had lasting impact after the training aid is removed. That's why I'm a big fan of this connector device. I highly recommend it. Now that I seem to have the backswing in a better position, day 2 I'm working on the downswing transition, mainly keeping the hands from shooting out to the ball at the top of the swing. For this, I used the feel that Bryson is demonstrating here, where I try to get the lead hand to the trail pocket pretty much immediately in the downswing. So I'm trying to come down at a faster rate. That way I can go out to the ball as I get in the later part of the downswing. The true test of any swing change is how it functions the following day. When I look at this swing, it appears that I've retained all the items that I was working on day 1. The club head tracks nicely up the plane, on the hand line, and I have a pretty good top of swing position. Therefore, this is going to allow me to work on the next piece, which is simply getting the feel of pulling the lead hand to the trail pocket. As you can see, feel and reel are nowhere near the same, but it does give me a shallower impact angle coming into the ball, more from the inside, which slows the rate of closure with the club head. Now, while the rate of closure is slower, the next piece that I would need to add is getting the club to exit a little lower and around the body towards the left, and that'll help stabilize the face just a little bit more and slow the rate of closure even further. It's not always a one-stop shop when it comes to making a swing change. Sometimes you're going to have to change 2 or 3 elements just to get the swing back to a functional neutral fashion. The golf swing's a lot like a balance ledger. You have pluses and minuses, steep and shallow. And when you add one element of steep, you're going to have to do something else to get it back into shallow to make it neutral again. Making a swing change can be incredibly frustrating and time consuming, but the rewards of good golf, I think, is what drives us all. When you're making swing changes, my recommendation is to use a coach or training aids that can provide you instant feedback and feels that do make the proper changes that you're seeking, and you can verify them on video. So that way you can keep practicing with proper intent. The next thing that I would recommend is making sure that you are practicing at a slow enough pace so that you can feel the changes, because if you speed something up, you're going to invariably lose the change. And then the next thing that I would recommend, the third step, would be to repeat the practice session as often as possible, but for shorter durations. So maybe practicing those changes for no more than 15 minutes a day. That will sink in much faster than practicing for long periods with less intervals per week. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, post comments, like, subscribe, and hopefully we're all on the better road to better golf. Thank you.